Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump now launching attacks against each other, the latest over the so-called woman card. Is this a preview of the slugfest we'll see in the general election? Let's talk about it with Sean Spicer, Chief Strategist and Communications Director for the RNC, and Louis Miranda, Communications Director for the DNC. Gentlemen, take your corners. This is a little preview of what we're going to be seeing. So, Louis, can you peel back the curtain for us at the DNC and let us know how you're preparing for what promises to be a very wild ride in the general?
Absolutely. We're excited about this race, and thanks for having me on. I think that when we look at the contrast between the two parties, and not just with Donald Trump, but really what the Republican Party has turned into over the last few years, you see that the divisiveness and the ugly rhetoric has been coming from Republicans for a very long time, from their party leadership, and policies that focus on those at the very top at the expense of hardworking Americans. So we think as we head into the general election, we're very well positioned to show the American people that the Democratic Party's values, that our priorities are in line with where they are, that we're building on the progress we've made over the last 7 years and the hard work that they've done to bring our country back from the Great Recession. And we think it's going to be a good contrast. And unlike the Republican primary candidates who didn't stand up to Donald Trump, we're going to stand up to him.
Okay, let's talk about that, because, Sean, we have already seen a preview.
Hold on, Allison, can I just, one quick,
go ahead.
Can I just comment on that real quick?
Yeah.
I think it's important. Look, elections, Louis did a great job of reciting the DNC talking points, and that's his job, and I appreciate that. But the reality is campaigns are about two things: candidates, the message that they espouse, and their ability to connect with voters, and then mechanics, the ability to get out there and actually go door to door, contact voters, and get them out to the polls. When you look at where we stand vis-a-vis the two parties and the candidates, let's look at what's going on. You have a Republican Party that's raising record amounts of money, put in a historic ground game, has the best opposition research, and the best data and digital operation, bar none, political parties. You've got the New York Times reporting that the team from Hillary Clinton's coming down to look at the DNC because it's frankly right now in shambles. It's bankrupt and it's dysfunctional. And when you can't be that kind of an aid to the party, we saw that. Frankly, we were in that position in 2012. We couldn't be the party that we needed to be to help Mitt Romney win. And I think the problem right now is that they're going to come out of this divisive primary with Hillary and Bernie Sanders. And the DNC is not in the position that a political party needs to be to provide the resources to win. They have no ground game. They have no data and digital operation. Their fundraising is anemic. They're frankly bankrupt. They're upside down when it comes to the money that they have in. And so as much as Luis can talk about the rhetoric that they're going to espouse and the talking points that they're going to email out, being able to email is about the only resource that the DNC is going to be able to provide their nominee.
Louis, you want to respond to that?
You just talked about, that the general elections are about message and contrast. And the reality is not only are we positioning the party very well heading into the general election, we've had a data and digital and analytical edge over Republicans over the last several years. And in fact, because we do have a national voter file where the RNC after 2012 said they needed to catch up on the data. And what happened? They haven't been able to sign agreements with all of their state parties, and their candidates have been using different information.
Okay.
So the fact is that
frankly, that's just not.
Sean, let me finish. We're very well positioned heading into the general election, and in a big reason is because we've also had a primary in which, as we saw this past week, 7 out of 10 of our voters in exit polls, just as you saw in New York, just as you saw in Wisconsin, are excited or optimistic about both of our candidates, where a majority of Republicans see their primary as divisive. And the fact is the American people see the Republican Party as divisive.
Quickly, Sean.
And that's going to make a big difference.
You can respond quickly.
Well, look, the facts just don't bear this out. Here's the reality. In 35 of 39 states, the Democrat turnout is down over 2008. Their overall turnout is down 20%. Republican turnout in the same states is up 60%. And among battleground states is as high as 70%. So when it comes to actually enthusiasm and intensity to get out there, when it comes out to registration and all the mechanical things that you're needed to win a general election, it all favors the Republican Party. When it comes to the operation, the mechanics, frankly, hold on, Luis, I let you finish. Please let me finish. Please let me finish.
Quickly,
the New York Times reported that Robbie Mook and a team from the Hillary Clinton campaign came down to Washington to visit with the DNC because Robbie Mook, in particular, was discouraged with the state of the DNC and its ability to do its job. So that's not me. That's the New York Times. Not exactly a Republican friend when it comes to reporting. So, look, the reality is that when it comes to winning an election, I bet you do. Considering the state of the DNC, I bet you better talk a lot more and do a little less talking and a lot more raising money and providing the resources that you need. But I'm glad you're in the state that you're in.
Listen,
we're focused on the issues, and that's why we're going to win.
Guys, it's fun to watch you guys duke this out, and you're giving us quite a little preview of what we can expect from the candidates as well. But what was not as fun is to watch the violence outside of the Donald Trump rally last night.
That's
Sean,
right.
I want to just pull some pictures up of what happened last night. These were anti-Trump protesters. They were turning over police cars. They were just, there was all sorts of vandalism. Yeah. So I mean, how much of a concern do you have moving forward, Sean, about these scenes that we're seeing?
Well, I'll tell you, here's what's interesting. When the issues happened in Chicago a few months ago, it was the Republican National Committee and members of folks on our side that called out and said, we agree this sort of violence isn't acceptable. But yesterday, you heard absolute silence when folks on the left went and caused this absolute disrespectful nature, caused violence, ruining public property. Silence from the DNC, silence from Hillary Clinton. They are such hypocrites. When it comes to voting rights,
Sean,
when
I'll
the state of Rhode Island has 67 polling places, they said nothing. When it comes to violence, they say nothing.
Hold on, Sean.
It's interesting. They're always willing to call out everybody else, but when it's their side that disrupts, that creates violence, that ruins public property,
right now, Sean,
protests
should
Sean,
be peaceful.
Go ahead,
Protests should be peaceful, absolutely. And I hope you join me, too, in denouncing your local Republican Party chairman in Broward County, Florida, who last night said the most offensive, misogynistic thing that anyone has said on this campaign. And it's largely driven because the RNC has stood by and not stood up to Donald Trump's misogynistic comments throughout this whole election. And it's about time you do. Denounce him with me.
Okay, guys, we're leaving it there. Sean, Lewis, thank you.
What a way to start a Friday, huh?
I guess. Have a great weekend, guys.
Have a great weekend,
We'll talk
Allison.
again.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.